Hey! Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the Gaz Williams Eurorack adventure, the ongoing thing, whatever it is. And humongous changes have happened this week. Well, I mean, in the world for sure. But we won't dwell on that. We will focus on this malarkey tonight. And lots has happened here since last week. You may remember, if you tuned in last week, a whole cavalcade, if I may use such a flowery term, of modules arrived from Dreadbox. And yeah. There's going to be a lot more about those in future shows. But something has happened, and I wanted to explain. You might have seen the name of this little broadcast as in Getting Into Drums. And yes, that is what has happened. And specifically, that when I got the grids, I bought the grids because someone was selling one locally. Yeah, super cool guy. I think I mentioned about him. His boat had just sunk, bless him. But he managed to escape. But some of his modular stuff sank. Oh, bless him. Anyway, grids. I just have fallen in love with it. And I'm going to go through a lot of stuff with grids tonight. We've touched on it a little bit. But grids is just, all I'm going to say about it at the moment is it's like a kind of almost like a preset groove drum machine. It outputs 3 gates, essentially a kick, a snare and a hi-hat. And and I couldn't resist it. And so I've expanded this now with a couple of these really tiny little Pico from Erica Synths. So we've got the Pico Drum 2 and the Pico Drums. Now, the names are very, very similar, Drum 2 and Drums, but they are actually entirely different modules. Drums is a single voice and is a sort of like, sorry, wrong way around. Drum 2 is a single voice, but it gives you have quite a lot of parameter control. You've got different modes. I got a little card here which comes in it, which goes through the different algorithms. So like pulse drum, and then it tells you that sort of parameter 1 is for oscillator tune, parameter 2 is for FM decay, and then there is a decay knob on there as well, which generally works as a decay. On a few others, there's a pitch envelope amount on the fold drum, for instance. But anyway, there's a bunch of different... sorry, I'm making the focus go a bit weird there. There's a bunch of different algorithms. And that is what that Drums 2 is all about. It's basically a load of digital synthesizer algorithms specifically about drums. Now, there's a couple of CV inputs, and... You can map that to a few different places. Probably have a look at that, I guess, in a bit. But drums, that's the 2-voice one. And that's basically like a sample drum player. Either voice has got access to 64 drum samples. And you can actually bring your own samples in. In fact, the poor guy whose boat sank, he was going to sell one of those. He decided to keep it, but the little programmer card, that's what went down with his boat. But anyway, so you can get a little programmer card that goes in the back, sort of like a USB stick sort of thing. That facilitates you being able to bring in your own samples. At the moment, I'm quite happy just having a load of samples I can use. They sound great. And we'll go through those in a moment. Now, you may have seen what's lurking next door. Yes, this Pamela's new workout, which in Eurorack world, it is now an essential purchase. And there is a little story that I'd like to tell about this module, and it involves a certain Mylar Melodies, who happens to be a really good friend of mine, and while I was talking to him and asking him for advice, he was just going, you got to get yourself a Pamela's new workout. And I just couldn't really see much purpose in it. I looked it up. well, I could see it was a very functional unit, but I wasn't really thinking that I was that interested in that particular direction. However, I was talking to Ed Butterworth from Sonic State, who does the modular reviews for Sonic State. He was saying along similar things, but Mylar in particular was really, really kind of stressing to me about it, that is the one to get. Anyway, I did something the other day which I've never really done before, and I hope I never do again. And that is, I've been working really late, and I fell asleep accidentally in my studio, and I was actually working on modular stuff, I think, just before I fell asleep. And then I don't know what happened, but I somehow kind of semi-woke up, grabbed an iPad, bought a Pamela's new workout, and I went back to sleep again. Actually, and those Pico drums as well. And then went back to sleep again. And then when I woke up later, I had a vague memory, and I looked in my email, and sure enough, there was confirmation. Oh, dear me. People warned me about this kind of thing. Yes, but also I do sort of blame Mylar Melodies in a kind of, yeah, I blame him. I think he was in my subconscious there, and when I was sleeping, he was going, buy a Pamela. So yeah, okay. So that's what happened. I'm just going to have a little look at the chat room. Oh, hello everybody! Wow, great. Look at it. Wow, it's great to see the gang. Nice. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you so much. It's amazing. Okay, let's put this here for now. Right. So that was my explanation. But I mean, jeepers, so easy, isn't it, these days to buy things? Right. Okay. Let's get into it then. So, what on earth is a Pamela's workout, and why is it relevant to drums? Well, we are going to use it for a few things tonight. Basically, there's a start-stop button there, and that's one of the things that makes this an essential module. It's like the start of everything. You've got 8 highly configurable clock outputs, and some inputs as well. And there is like an expansion, a little MIDI and a DIN expansion that's available for it. I'll consider that. I'll see how I get on with it. But straight away, though, it just is a super useful thing. So what are we going to use it here for? Well, I've deliberately not patched anything, so we're going to make this patch up as we go along so we can hear the components. But also, I'm going to introduce an element of complexity using the switch from DPW Designs. Okay, so this is also new, and is a really amazing module. It's a sort of, you think, a switch. Why should a switch be particularly interesting? Well, one of the things that makes these switches really special is that they can switch on and off totally silently without kind of creating clicks. So you can have really fast switching of stuff. So what I thought might be quite interesting in this is that we could have another clock coming from Pamela coming into the switches. We can so it can send the drums out of one channel and I'll send the drums out of another channel. So we'll get to it. I'm jumping ahead of myself there. Let's go back to the simple stuff then. But anyway, that's what you're going to stay tuned for, because that's the goal. So we'll basically have some drum patterns going on and then some interesting switching of sounds. Right. Okay. Don't forget to join me on Wednesday. I've got Kim Bjorn from, the fabulous author of the Patch and Tweak books and Push, Turn, Move, Pedal Crush. Yeah, he's going to be joining me on Wednesday, and we're going to be doing some live patching with him giving me guidance, and with the Moog trilogy, the subharmonicon, the Mother 32 and the DFAM, and those things have arrived here, but I haven't touched them, so I'm going to be doing it I'm going to be having my very first experience. I'm familiar with the subharmonicon, of course, but the other two I haven't even plugged in, so I'm not going to do that as much as I want to do it. I'm not going to do that until the show. So join me on Wednesday night, 8 p.m. UK, and yeah, with Kim as well, of course. And that's going to be a lot of fun. Anyway, moving on, let's get back to this. And so I was talking about grids and the Pico drums and the switch and the Pamela's workout. And pretty much those are the things that are going to be our main action. And I made a decision earlier on. They were all in different places on the other rack as well. And I just couldn't work out the camera angles. And then I realised, hang on a minute, this modular malarkey, you can just put them together and switch them out and switch them back in. And yes, I was nearly out of Nurleys. Well, I did. I completely ran out of Nurleys. And in that mad, when I woke up and went back to sleep again, I actually managed to order 100 extra Nurleys as well. So yes, Nurleys are these little screws that facilitate whipping out on chucking modules in and out easy without needing any tools. So yeah, so I just thought, yeah, let's just put all of the modules that we need in one place. It just struck me like, of course. And that's absolutely what modular is all about. Anyway, okay, enough of this incessant yabba. Right. So first thing first, we're going to take an output from Pamela that is going to go into the clock of grids. I've got to make sure grids is entirely anti-clockwise there to make sure it's in the external clock mode, because Pamela is our clock. Okay, our trigger 1, which is our kick, is going to come out, and I'm going to put it into drum 2. So remember, drum 2, even though it says it's got a 2 in it, drum 2 is the single drum, and drums is the 2 drums. Okay, so there's a trigger input there. In it goes, and then the output is going to go simply out of that, and then into my little Adobe mixer, into channel 2. Pan it left. That means it's just coming straight out into the Rosie, and then into the video recorder. So that's our signal path. So right, so next thing to do is to start Pamela. And all things, I better just hold on to the volume control, but all things being well, we should start having a drum. Here we go. Whoa. All right. Okay, so let's have a look. Green mode. This is complex sine drum. So a lot of tuning. Yeah, so just within this one algorithm, there's loads of stuff. It's great. So it's just one algorithm. Okay, so let's move on to the next algorithm, which in this case is space snare. Oh, that's got a nice thud to it. Okay, but we want a kick because we're coming out of track 1. So that being a snare, I'll just switch that over. So that's going to come out of track 2 of grids, which is essentially our snare output. Now, let's just turn them out for now. So we'll use this snare for now. I'll just take that down. Oh, actually, look, I'm being a fool. One of the cool things with grids is these fill controls. If you turn them all the way to the left, is essentially the same as muting them. Now, Grids describes itself as a topographic drum sequencer. And I was a little bit like, topographic? I know Topographic from Tales from Topographic Oceans, the Yes album, which I think is great. I will stand my ground on that one. I love that album. But topographic drum sequencer, what on earth does it mean? Well, what the principle of it is, if you imagine a map, and across this map are various preset drum grooves all across this map. So when you use the X and Y controls, you kind of like looking for a groove, you know, wherever that X and Y is, and it'll kind of morph groove as you move it around. So it won't just snap, it'll kind of start adding little bits of beats from the other groove as you're moving it around. So that's sort of the principle of it. And in the manual, it's talking about how this machine learning somehow has kind of extracted loads of potential drum patterns and has made this big map that you navigate with X and Y. Then there's a kick, snare and hi-hat pattern at every location in the XY. But then the fill controls let you choose how much of that particular drum is sounding at that particular location. And like everything is modulatable. It's a really peculiar approach to drum programming, because you say programming, surely that sounds more random, but you can, if you are putting carefully constructed LFOs or the Zadar, for instance, the from Chaos Devices, you know, you could essentially move that sequence, move that drum machine around with a lot of precision. Precision, that's not what we're going to do tonight, though. Going to do quite the opposite. This is going to be a little bit more kind of haphazard, as is my norm. Anyway, okay, so let's have a listen then. Well, yeah, we'll keep the snare on there for a moment. I will come back and we'll listen to more of the algorithms in a bit, but we'll just bring in drums now. So, as I mentioned earlier, drums is a sample player. So there's 64 samples, I believe, already loaded in, and they're nice. They're really nice samples. I don't know what the origin of them all are. So I'm going to send out the trig then from the kick, and I'm going to put it into track 1. And then we'll use track 2 for our hi-hat. But let's just get track 1 on the go at the moment then. So we need an audio output. And then that'll just go into input 3 in my little mixer. And that output, you don't have a separate output, sadly, for the two drums. It mixes the two drums together. So you might need to plan ahead a little bit to decide which two drums do you want to gang. But we're going to do, in this case, kick and hi-hat. But it's simple. It's just going straight out for now. Okay, let's have a look. So, right. Oh, yeah. So make sure we can, there's our snare. So let's see where our kicks are coming. Trigger out into trigger in. Okay, that looks good. So we're going to program drum 1. There's like a binary programmer here for selecting samples. Let's just see. Let's just turn up the level. Okay, so. Oh yeah, that's a room shaker. That is. Okay, just use that for a moment now. So look, if I increase this now. The map is, if you can see where so that's where the X and the Y is. So if you imagine like a two-dimensional map where that would be roughly, well, actually, why don't we take them both to the corners? We could explore this a little bit. I'm going to put it at 12 o'clock then. Let's explore this map a little bit and let's bring the snare back in now. Oh, there's a chaos here as well, which adds a certain amount of variance in as well. So you can really make these patterns move around. I'm going to set both the map to 12 o'clock now and see what's going on there. Now, there are quite a few other things that we can do to make things more interesting. The accent outs, I think, are really essential. What they do is all of these drum patterns have certain beats accentuated. So if you take that in, or we could modulate our drum then, our VCA of our drums, to respond to those accents. I think when we start looking at the hi-hat pattern, then I think that will come in really, really handy. Yeah, so you know, to call it like a preset drum machine would be an absolute crime, because the amount of possibilities, I guess, are just enormous. But I do like how you can just change the complexity. Well, I mean, I've just found a super simple beat there. Actually, let's just leave that for now. Oh, okay. It's like 2 snares it's missing us there. That'll do. Okay, so we're going to bring in our other drum. And then once we've got some groove on the go, we'll mess around again with some of the other algorithms and samples. Okay, so I'm going to take out into trigger 2. There we go. And then we'll go looking for... Again, I'm just going to take those 2 out of the fill control. It's quite a cool way, isn't it, of muting. Okay. So there's a little switch on here that needs to be down to drum 2. So when this little encoder isn't lit, it's like a sample selector. Ooh, bit of a loop there. Oh, I will show you something that is quite funny. As you go through all of the samples, you find a little surprise at the end. What's that from? That old dog. We were after hi-hats. Right, let's see what these are like. Okay. What you can also do then is if you press that, it's gone green now. If I press it again, it's gone red. Press it again, it's gone to yellow. So yellow is volume. So that's going to be the one that we'd like to parameter adjust to get those accents working. Oh, although actually I just have realised I will probably need to put the hi-hat on 1 and the kick on 2, because you can only CV control drum 1. Unless, oh no, let's try it with a kick. Let's try putting a nice big kick accent in. That might probably make more sense as well. Or of course we could find a snare on here and move our hi-hat duties across to drums 2. Have a look through, although I think, oh, there is some noise. Yeah, so you probably can get some hi-hats off that. Okay, but yeah, so naught, unlit is sample select, green is pitch. Nice, a lot of range. So let's pitch that up where we want it. And then red is decay. I love very super short hi-hats. So let's do something like that. Now, oh, I did read something. I think if you're using the internal grids clock, yeah, there's a special mode. If you press and hold this button, you can change the chaos control to be in swing, but that swing control doesn't do anything if you're coming off the clock, which we are, and we're going to need to for the things that are going to happen a little bit later. I'm just going to check in with the chat room a moment just to make sure I'm not missing anything. Well, I am always missing out. I always feel like I'm missing out. All the parties happening and I'm missing it all. 1992 all over again. Yeah. Grids is best when you use an AND gate and have a steady beat going elsewhere. Right, well, funny you should say that. We're going to kind of use the switch a little bit like that. Yeah, swing on internal only. Thank you, yeah, great. Just checking in. Wow, nice to see a big, healthy chat room there. Again, a huge honour. I really love it. Thank you so much. Okay. So let's see what we've got. Let's just try bringing in our different drums now and see what we got going on. So if I use the chaos to see if I can use it like a drum fill thing. Yeah. I guess just ramping this up will have a similar effect. Yeah. So again, all of these are modulatable, which of course opens up some interesting possibilities. So I was going to mess around with some of the sound first, wasn't I? So I'll just leave this same pattern playing for a moment. Let's just get a little mix sound of it. That hi-hat probably would be better sat back a little bit. So that's its level control. Oops, move my arm out of the way. Okay, let's just try pulling in that pitch on that kick as well then. So flick up to the and just take the decay down a bit. Yeah, there's something very pleasing about the sound of these Pico drums. Okay, right, let's play with some other sounds then. So I'll go through, so we got our snare then. It's coming from that the space snare, the blue algorithm. Let's just mess around with that a little bit first. We're going to put some modulators into some of this in a moment as well. Oh, and I think that some of these will track 1 volt per octave, so you can run sequences into it. So that'd be quite fun. Yeah, so like very pleasing. Lots of tones in this. Wow. Okay, so that's the space snare. Next one is noise crush. Oh yeah. So we've got a bit crush going on here. Let's just go. So like a filter, low pass filter. And what we got here, decay. Yeah. Really different. Each algorithm hugely different. Need a shuffle or a ratchet on those hats. Yes. Something soon. We'll come to that in a moment. Just mess with a few of these little. Okay. I did start going through the algorithm somewhere in the middle. So the next one in the order is Fold Drum 2. So Fold Drum 1 is earlier on. Oscillator tune, fold amount, and then pitch envelope amount. Oops, go. Let's bring me back to live. Right. They're cool. Now, of course, though, I mean, even though these Pico modules are relatively cheap, to get a full drum kit out of them would certainly kind of rack up the cost. They're around £125, both of them. They're the same price, more or less, which is quite interesting. They're really cool algorithms. Okay, so moving to the next one then. Slap. So we've got filter drive and VCA. Wow! Oh, these are great. Super useful. Oops. I'm not quite sure why those decays are going like that. Ouch. Let's move on from that one. I need to learn how to use that one. So this is pulse drum. It's great. There's really great range on these, isn't there? And then let's move on to the next one, which is Fold Drum 1. Oh, yeah. What we got on here? Oscillator tune, fold amount, and then VCA decay. Oh, yeah. Definitely going to want to run some CV into these to get this pitch moving around. I think there'll be some cool little tunes you could play on this thing. Yeah. Okay. So, and then we're to the last one we haven't heard, which is Complex Pulse Drum. Okay. And we got on here, we got Oscillator Tune, Mod Oscillator 2 Tune, and VCA Delay. Okay. So 2 CV inputs then on here, and I think is it that CV1 is fixed to the decay? Is it? No, to parameter 1, and then CV2 can be I think 3 different things. I think it's a long press on mode, and then you can choose that. Okay, but anyway, for our purposes, let's get back now to our space snare, which is the blue one. Yeah. Wow. Incredibly versatile module. I mean, clearly you can only have one voice at a time. So, I mean, if they're like 125, 250 for 2 voices. God, I see, 500 quid for just 4 modules, 4 voices. It's where things get really expensive in this world, don't they? Okay. Right. It's neat, isn't it? It's nice having a dedicated start-stop button. Just that in itself, I think, is really helpful. Okay. Can you make some Holden fake Abbott sounds? Oh, do you know, I don't know what that is. I don't know what that means. But I'm interested to find out. Okay, let's move on. Okay, so I mentioned earlier about the switch, and from DPW, and this could do something quite interesting. And in order to make this interesting, what we'll do is we'll bring into play the disting next door, which is similar now to drum 2 in that it's running just like a resonant drum. I used this last week, I think, but we'll use that drum sound. And let's just so we'll do it with the snare drum. And what I'm going to do is the snare is the switch is going to decide whether the pulse out of the grids is going to go to the expert sleepers or if it's going to go to the drum 2 module. And that switch, the CV input, which will control when that switch happens. Obviously, I could just flick the switch. If I use the latch button, I can make that, so that's quite useful anyway, being able to latch. There's four switches on here, and all 4 can be independent. But when you use latch, it kind of latches 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And that's great because that means you can use this switch for controlling stereo channels. Great. So let's patch this in. Fireworks, more fireworks. God, I live near a park and there's fireworks galore been happening over the last week. I wonder why people are celebrating though. Right, let's come out, trigger out. Trigger in. What am I doing? Yes, so this one yeah, so I want to send whether the trigger, that's right, yeah, so whether that trigger is going to go into this one or into that one. Yeah, got it. Just needed to get my brain in order. So we're going to put that in, I might as well do it into 2. So channel 2, and then it's going to come out to the green. When it's on green, it's going to come to the disting. And when it's on red, it'll go over to the drums 2 trig there. So if I run this now, I should be able to test this. I'm going to mute the other drums for now so we just hear the snare. Oh, now that's because I haven't got an output coming. I need to plug another output of the disting output into our mixer and plug it into channel 4 there, and that should be good. Let's just make sure that channel is up. In we go. There's the disting there. So there are parameters I can change on the disting. I'll just leave it like that just for now, just so it's obvious. So, oops, 2. Oh, there we go. Oops, sorry, that focus. I've got to come this way. Okay, so a really basic idea at the moment, but I think it would be quite cool. Let's just have that constantly going for a moment, or more or less constant. Now, the CV in then is going to come from another output of Pamela's, and then we'll have a look at what happens if we set a different clock output of Pamela to, so that will essentially be automating, oops, this. Yeah, that should be quite interesting. See, this stuff I'm doing now is proper modular stuff, isn't it? You just wouldn't do this kind of stuff with, you know, switches. It's just not the sort of stuff you generally would bother with on software. Well, of course you do. What am I talking about? But oops, I've done it into two, haven't I, again? Sorry, into one. Okay, let's bring the other drums back up for now. Yeah, so the next thing I'm going to do is drive that VCA out of the accent of the kick then to get some a little bit more interesting stuff going on, and then we'll make interesting stuff happen with the hi-hats. Okay. Nice. It's almost like a kind of more primitive version of Electron's kind of sample locking. Where you can have different, I mean, there's only two different ones here. I haven't delved too deep in the manual on the Switch yet, so I'm not sure if you can, if they're normaled at all. I'm not sure if Dan is in the chat room. Hey, Jörg is in the chat room. Good to see you, Jörg. Yeah, I'm just catching up with the chat room. Sorry, that's a bit boring for everyone. It's nice though. It's great to see a community coming together. I love it. I love it. Love it. Love it. Right. I haven't even looked at what the settings of that Pamela was doing actually. I think it was just changing them on and off. I think it was just. Let's actually have a look. Start it. So output 2, yeah, it's just a standard clock, but I guess because it's going to be going change. Let's have a look. Anyway, I'll just change the modifier and see what happens. Let's put the snare happening all the time. But you can make really slow divisions. So if I went in the other direction, it'll do. Let's make it really slow. So it'll 4 beats on one, 4 beats on the other. But let's see how. I think it can go really slow though. Let's see how slow it can go. Okay. Oh yeah. Oh, 512. We'll be waiting a long time before that changes. So that's interesting. You can do these real kind of long changes. That's interesting. Wow. What a cool module. I am into this. So yeah. Okay. So I'll just leave it on. I'll leave it on 1 for now because it was kind of doing its thing for the time being. Okay. Wow. So I mean, God, in my primitive, typical thing, you know, this is just using a teeny fraction of what this can do. But what I have been doing with this, and on next week's show, I'll expand on it because I was thinking about doing it tonight, but I think I'll do it next week. I've got the Noodle Box wired in a really nice way now. I've found a permanent place for it. The Noodle Box, of course, is a little 4-channel sequencer. But I've got it down by my right hand. I'll have to redo the cameras, and I'll do that again. Actually, let's have a look. Yay. Okay, no, we can. There. And these rather fetching cables, I bought them from Fomu, who was Dan in the chat room. So he got in touch and did me a great deal. Great, loads of nice cables, and I bought a load of them. So that's nice. That means I can have I've got my four CV outs there and my 4 gates, and then they're kind of coming in this big chunky snake here, but I can split them out however. So yeah, and that's really comfortable there. And actually, I know my head is close to the ceiling, it's really close. Other than that though, this is pretty ergonomic. And I like being able to be stood up. Anyway, that was just a little peep on what's going on. Let's get back into the close-up to what we're looking at. Yeah, I think that'll do. Ham is great, but the display could be brighter. Interesting you saying that. The display with my camera light shining on it, yeah, it's definitely not very bright. However, I don't mind that so much. I do feel that some of the LEDs, especially on the Dreadbox stuff, are a bit on the bright side. Hey, Dan Johnson, yeah, man. Thank you. Yeah, very happy. These are. Pop your web address in the chat room, and I'll read it out. I just don't have it with me, because yeah, I really like this. I wish I'd actually had more multicolored cables. It just makes sense, doesn't it? Yellow to yellow, blue to blue. Anyway, right, let's get back to where we were. So we got some switching going on, but we're going to get a lot more switching going on, I think, because I say we got 4 switches there, and we've got another 6 outputs from Pamela's to employ as well. Oh no, I was going to bring the accent in first. Let's just do that, and then we'll investigate things further. So that accent's going to come out, and then I think it's going to come into what we're going to do. That's on the kick. So. That's into CV1. I'm fairly sure if I put that in there. Sorry about that. I think that's going to. I might need to consult the manual one moment. Let's have a look. Unless anyone in the chat room knows whilst I'm looking, I'm just basically in the drums module. I'm coming out of my accent, so I'm going to be controlling I want that to control VCA level. Let's just remember how to do that. Yeah, I mean, there's these tiny Pico modules. They're so small. They get so much in there, really, for what they can do. But I guess the compromises are things like this. Some are slightly obscure ways of changing stuff. But let's have a listen first, though, and we'll get things running. I'm going to take out the other things. So we're just going to listen to the kick now. I'm going to see what... this accent out. Now accent out. Whoops, I am going to have to consult the manual one moment. Yeah, hope everyone's well. It's kind of late here in the UK, around 20 past 11 at night. For those of you who know me, know I'm very much a night owl. Yeah, I've always kind of been that way, really. Find I can focus and concentrate more at night than I can at daytime. Yeah, I don't know if I like it that way. It's just the way it is. Just grab some more cables. Apologies for this, just getting set up for the next bit. And checking out. Just catching up with the chat room. One moment, sorry. Bear with me. Okay, sorry. I was just having a little look at stuff. You concentrate at night. I fall asleep and buy modules. Yes, it's true. I think when I looked at the time, though, I think I did buy it around between 5 and 6 a.m. something. Oh dear. Anyway. Yeah, right. Okay, let's see where... Oh, yeah, I need to find out how to get this accent working. Do you know, I don't like making you guys wait while I plow through manuals, so maybe I'll just experiment and see if I can get... Well, yeah, let's have a go. So we'll get some running here. Accent out. I know what I'll do. If I just take a standard LFO out, I'll use it from the mini boot. Let's just take an LFO and I'll plug that in, and that will probably make it do things because I'm just sending it the accent otherwise. Okay. Oh yeah. There we go. Just affecting that. Yeah, parameter 1, isn't it? Right, I think is it long press on here. Yes, it's flashing, and now I think so it's flashing green, so it's going to be meaning the CV's changing the pitch. Oh yeah, and you can CV control sample selection. Okay, so this is cool now. Okay, so let's go back to where I was again. Long press, it flashes green, yellow. So I think that's right. No. Oh, you got to keep it flashing. I got it. Okay, I got it. Yeah, you got to keep pressing it and you twist it. So that LFO is changing the VCA. So there we go. So if we put that in, we should be sending our accent out now. So now to make that effective, then if I come out of this, turn our VCA down. Is that accent then? Is it just sending out a trigger, or is it sending out like a maybe I've misunderstood that. Sorry about this. Let's just get back into that configuration. No, okay. So I have to admit defeat sometimes. I just can't seem to get that. I might be doing that wrong. Yeah, accent sends a trig. So if a trig is going in to a CV, it's not going to do anything, is it? So how am I going to make that accent, make that CV get... Sorry, how am I going to make that get louder then? Okay. This is where my beloved chat room helps me out. My brain isn't the best of this. Is right. Do you know what I'm going to do? Is I'm going to go to the output of Pamela's workout, long press, and I'm going to have a look at what happens to the different gates that I'm sending in to it. I think phase delay. Yeah, you've got this skip, random skip, and then Euclidean steps. Rotate loop, quantize slop. Oh my goodness, it does a lot of things. I perhaps should do that before. Do you know what? I won't do this now because I don't know. I haven't really read up on this. I'll investigate that another time. There's too many options there, and I'm probably going to end up just busting stuff. Right. So I guess one of the things about grids is, say we had this little groove that we liked this, finding this again, seeking through the topographic map there, trying to find it. I'm just going to investigate by how much that groove changes if I do a teeny weeny turn of just the X parameter. Definite change, isn't it? Back again, so I can see if I can find that other one. Oh, it is quite sensitive. I wonder if you could learn. In fact, maybe I know some of you in the chat room have got this. Have got this grids or are familiar with the grids. I wonder if there are any kind of like Easter eggs, or if you can find a funky drummer in there somewhere, or if you could find some other legendary beats. Just if you could find the exact XY coordinates. Just such an interesting approach. We've seen a few things like this in software. Well, quite a lot of things like this, I suppose, in software. But just having the physicality of the knobs. Well, again, I know you can map that stuff, and I'm assuming that all of these exist in VCV Rack. Which, and I guess with him being open source, they must be free. I've not tried VCV Rack. Grids has a Euclidean mode. Yes. So long press on this will take us into this programming mode. Is it? Am I in it now? Yeah, I think I am. And you can change a whole bunch of parameters. I'll come back out of that, including turning it into just a Euclidean sequencer. One of the things I was pleased to discover, though, in that these 3 accent outs, you can actually change what the function of those do. They kind of trigger related functions, but at first I can see there's a clock in on the grids, and I thought, oh, it's a shame that there's not a clock out, so that you can't use grids as the kind of master clock. But yeah, you can reconfigure those accent outs in that menu. So the reset and clock out, and the clock out will either pass the incoming clock through, or if you kind of come off this and come into its, grid zone tempo here. And then back onto the clock coming from Pamela's. Cool. Now, yeah, so we got CV inputs on grids as well for the fills. So yeah, these three are called fills. So we could put stuff into that and have. Let's just try it with that. I've got this handy LFO coming from the Mini Brute. I'll put it into the snare. Oh, that'll be cool because that's still switching between the two different sounds. Okay, I'm going to do it like try it like a square wave. Slow. That's it all. Okay, so this is a really slow square wave. So it's on and the snare plays off. Snare playing off. Yeah, I'll turn that off a bit. Okay, apologies for the kind of vanilla sound of the drums. I mean, I have got effects here that I can process it through. Yeah, it can get a nice open and closed hi-hat play. Yes. So the switch would definitely be good for that, wouldn't it? I mean, have it routing. So if I set up drums to be an open hat and I'd need another drums module, I guess. But if you had a drum, actually, you could make the drums module just your hats, and you could have your closed hats in one and your open hats in two, and then use the latch then for sorry, not the latch, the switch then for governing. Oh, you know, because it will act as a mute group then, I suppose. Yeah, good. Okay, let's just check. I'm just checking in. Okay. Yeah, let's do something now with that hi-hat then. Let's get some interesting that distinct sound isn't the most inspired sound. There's some funk lurking in this machine. Yeah, you find wicked little grooves in it, don't you? I like that. Okay. Right, let's find something else to do. I'm going to probably stop in about 10-15 minutes. I know I often keep on going after threatening to stop. Okay. Let's see, what can we do? Yeah, so that hi-hat, we want to jazz up that hi-hat. So let's think. Because it's going into drums input 2, there isn't any modulatable parameters of it. And oh yeah, of course, it's being mixed in as well to the output. That really does limit it in some ways, although what I was saying about using it as a hi-hat or as a mute group type thing doesn't matter too much if only one is ever sounding at the same time. But in this case then, because we've got our kick and our hi-hat, then there's not a lot we can do to our hi-hat from there. So what we'll have to do is stuff to our hi-hat from the grids. But the only thing that is independent is the fills. So let's see what we can do with that then. Let's just send out another LFO. Sending out an LFO. And then we're going to go in there. And what's our LFO currently set to? It's set to a sine, and it's kind of a medium speed LFO. So let's run the track. And so we're going to see. I'll turn out the drums, the kick and the snare. So we just listen to that hi-hat, and we'll see what happens with an LFO going in to the fill. All right, start. Oh, what have I've got another. Let's just. Envelopes would probably be a little bit more interesting. The Zadar. Now that's lurking off to my left here, but the Zadar would certainly be an interesting thing for these fills, and certainly trying to. Again, that can work on a very slow rate. Okay, so this LFO. I guess if I turn it all the way off, I'll try it on like a sample and hold. It's not a lot of fun, is it? I was kind of expecting a little bit more action. Okay. I guess this is the nature of experimentation. Put that LFO back in to the fill on the snare as well. Kind of lost our nice little groove. Okay, so I think more experimentation is needed then to find the right kind of modulator to make the most sense. Just these standard LFOs are maybe just not enough control on them to really do interesting things. It's almost donkomatic. Yes, donkomatic, donkomatic. Donkomatic. Is that Korg's first ever product? Certainly a Korg drum machine from the 60s, I think. Or maybe, yeah, 60s. Donkomatic. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Right, I think I'm kind of running out of steam a little bit on this idea. I think we need to go take it to the next level really and make more with the sound. Do you know what? Whilst we're here, why not? I'm just going to do something. Let's just do a little bit of patcheroo, and let's just switch a few of these over. Will they reach? Yes, they will. I can get this into the morphogene. And once you're into the morphogene, everything can happen. And on the way into the morphogene, it's going through the wonderful Radical Technologies FX. Okay, we're in. So now I can pan my drums. I can pan my drums into my effects bus. Let's just give a reverb. So nice big reverb just to start with to see if that's working. Clock! Clock! He shouted! We need a clock from Pam's to go into the Radical. See, Pam's having lots of clock outputs from one place makes a lot of sense. Speed. I think I turn it clockwise now to make the. And then if I make some in-time delay, that's always a good way to find tempo delay. Okay, one moment, let's just get this working. Morphogene, let's get this party started. Yes, we will bring some Morphogene action in a moment. Just this effect is a beast. It really is. It's so good. Let's just send it. Let's just. No, because we've got this clock coming in. Let's just. I'm just gonna wipe a bunch of these. I need to kind of zoom out a little bit now. I'm so sorry. I was changing stuff on the effects and I didn't look at the camera. Apologies. Hey, Jörg, the man himself. Let's create some havoc with Morphogene. If they go totally wet now. Okay. It's a big old boy, the Radical. Takes up quite a bit of space, but there's many big, lovely controls on here. It gives incredible range of things that you can do with it, including a powerful filter. I'm wondering if Jörg's in the chat room whether this is the same. You know, on the Delta Sep A, there's analog and digital filters, and I'm wondering how similar the digital filter is to the filter that's on here. I know Jörg told me that he really loves the digital filter, and I can absolutely listen to it. Like, filter's great. Let's show you. That's good. And there is a CV control for this filter. See this now? I know this kind of nonsense that's going on sort of thing, but this is exactly what is really rewarding, I'm finding personally, that we've kind of lost track of that drum beat. It's just become something else. Nice. Oh, do you know what I want to do? I want to modulate. Right, I didn't like that accent. It didn't do much for me, so I'll take that out. And I want to modulate the drum selection. Yeah! Now, I could patch in, I could be clever and patch in something from using the Samara or the AV1. To control that signal, but let's just try it first. Let's just try it first with a simple LFO again. What are our LFOs currently doing from the mini brute? Pink and yellow. Oh yeah, they're coming into grids there. So let's grab an LFO. Oh, I'll use this pink LFO. So that's going to go into drums, into CVN. Right, I'm on drum 1. Yes, that's the one I can mod. Let's see now. Long press on here until it's flashing, and then if I just turn this on. Yeah. Now let's see. Yes, it works. Let's just get that. I'll just get the effects off for a moment, just so we can listen to that effect of that. Bring these down. It's just coming in on number 3. Okay, so let's speed this. Why is that going so slow? Okay, let's make it. So of course, if I was to clamp the range of that LFO, I could just kind of make it work. Yeah, and the drums are all kind of grouped, so you by just setting a range and then centering it on those particular drums that you want. But let's. All right. Of course, it's on the kick, wasn't it? we go. Oh, right. This is what we... Oh, there we go. Let's bring myself back alive. Yep. PO12. Does sound a bit like it, doesn't it? The pocket operator. Okay, let's try bringing that into some effects now. Incidentally, that LFO, yeah, is set to like a sample and hold. I can't remember which one's which, if it's random or sample and hold. But of course, if I just set it to a square wave... It likes that piano sample. Let's see. Kick managed to get in there. Why is the thing not getting much of... going up. Got the dog bark in there. Sadly not modulatable below this waveform selector up here. And I think on this note, I'm going to sign off. Thank you everybody for joining me. Getting into drums on Eurorack. A lot of fun. Please consider subscribing and like this. I remember to say it. If you can click like, I would really appreciate that. And also, if you'd like to join me on Wednesday with Kim Bjorn for Patch and Tweak Live. As I mentioned earlier, if you might have missed it at the start of the show, I'm going to be joined on Wednesday night, 8 p.m. GMT UK time, and we're going to be... Pam, where are you? Stop! And there it goes, modulating into the distance. So Kim is going to be joining me, and we're going to be recreating some of the patches that he goes through in the book. And to make it a little bit more interesting, I won't have played with the Moogs that we're going to be using until pretty much the show, maybe a little sound check, but so I can explore those patches for the very first time with Kim as the very, very able guide. I was also delighted to briefly appear on the launch for the book from Björk's a few days ago. Hans Zimmer and Susan Gianni, amongst some others. Lisa was on there too. But I was on the show with those guys. Although we're taking it in turns. But yeah, that was a real thrill. So Kim's going to be joining me, and we're going to be going through some of those patches. And I'm really looking forward to that for obvious reasons, but especially as I've been so tempted to bust it open and to fire up like the DFAM. It's a DFAM, a Mother 32, and my beloved subharmonicon. So that's going to be fun. Yeah, so that's going to be joining. That's going to be on the regular Gaz Williams show on Wednesday. So yeah, please join me for that. And that's it for me. Thank you, everyone, ever so much. I really enjoyed that, and it was your company that made it all the worthwhile. Okay, bye for now.